They should go and invoke the spirit of Ogumola. They should know that they have a war to fight. Fulani war has come. Enough of drinking and smoking and not this challenge attitude. Before Fulani gather one day and overrun you. Ibadan is a very big city. To the extent that no war can enter there and come out. I'm not sure. I think Makinde should stop all this delinquent attitude and all this lackadaisical attitude towards Amotekun. If the personnel of Amotekun is not enough, employ more. If there is another means to strengthen them, strengthen them. This thing is becoming so alarming. And Yoruba will say, "Ine shishi oke ijoyan lemeji." But Ine shishi, we have seen that this Ine shishi has been especially in Oyo State. Oyo State has always been vulnerable when we talk about Fulani. I don't know what make Oyo State to be so attractive to them. They want to take over Oyo State. Yes.
I don't think because you have a big land mass.
If you have big land mass, is the Oyo State land mass reach Niger State? Let me tell you, if I'm not mistaken, all the land we have in Southwest, put them together, I'm not thinking they are as big as Niger State.
I think Oyo is one of the largest.
Land mass.
Yeah, land mass. I think Oyo is second to Cairo.
There is no state that has land mass like Niger State. Niger State has land mass like almost the land of the whole Southwest. They have a very fast land mass. I think they are the biggest. So why not go to that place? If Borno we have land more than Oyo, the Boko Haram, they are their brother. They should have just go and play there. Because the government of Ibon, why concentrating on Oyo now? So this one, Oyo people, they should know that the war is at their back. And Ibadan, they will say, "Go, worry." Ibadan people, they should know that the war is in their back door now. And they should rise up. They should go and invoke the spirit of Ogumola. They should know that they have a war to fight. Fulani war has come. Enough of drinking and smoking and not this challenge attitude. Before Fulani gather one day and overrun you. Ibadan is a very big city. To the extent that no war can enter there and come out. I'm not sure. But they should not relent. They should not relent. They should invoke. They should go and invoke their spirit, the spirit of Ogumola, Ibikunle, Ilu Ojo, Ogba Olodo Keri one. They should just go and bring it out. So go to all of, because if they think that it is happening around maybe Okeogun, Ibarapa, if they kill your brother and you think nothing happened to you, then you'll be the next target. If they take over that place, Ibadan will be the next target. So people of Oyo and their governor, they should not relent and make sure that they kick those bastards out. They kick them out. Anyone that does not ready to live according to the law of land, it should be dealt with. Not that they will be treating them with a kid glove. That one police will be dictating for. Do the needful to all these people. If you catch them, do the needful. Do the needful. Declare war if you want to. If you go when Modeke and Ife, if it is brother to brother, now we will know how to fight each other. If it is Modeke and Ife, they will know how to kill each other. But when the Fulani man come from outside, come and deal with us, we will fold our hand like this. We will be watching. That is cowardly. That is nonsense. That is stupidity. So I challenge them that they should do so. They should do the needful. And if it is war, let's start it now. If they want to make it war, let's start it. Killing Benny got to do let's let's make, if it is a war they want, give them the war now. Give them the war. Let's settle this matter once and for all. When Buhari was there, they are intimidating us. Buhari left there, Tinubu is still there. They are still intimidating us. So they should just look for any means they know to keep those people silent. And that's what I was complaining about Chief Sunday Igboho, that Chief Sunday Igboho should have concentrated on dealing with the Fulani, not deviate to Yoruba agitation. Yoruba agitation have make Chief Sunday Igboho not to be free again. He's not a free man again in Nigeria. if maybe people are even accusing Tinubu. It's not in Nigeria. It's in UK.
Nigeria.
It's not in Nigeria. Except he has something special to do in Nigeria. He will come and go. So if you say he stay on his lane of dealing with the Fulani, honestly speaking, I love it in that way. You should have left Yoruba agitation alone for Baba Banji Akintoye. Baba Banji Akintoye, it would have been better so that we'll be able to concentrate on this.
So there's nobody now fighting now for the Southwest.
I trust Igboho when it comes to that kind of fighting. I trust him more than others, more than Baba Gani Adams. Gani Adams, Baba has enjoyed life. I'm not ready. I'm not sure Baba is ready. If Baba want to go, Baba will not follow anybody into bush now. Baba will just send one Akim and Sule to go and be doing the work. But I trust Igboho that Igboho will lead the battle. Igboho will lead the battle. So that's my point.
Well, people say, so they go fought any war and come out successful in time past.
Then they go fought Ife Amodekeke war now. He was a warlord.
Enlighten our listener enlighten our listener on that war.
The war of between Ife and Amodekeke. It's a common story. It was one local government secretariat that caused wahala at that time. And Amodekeke and Ife, they fought for, I couldn't remember how many years, but the war lasted. The war lasted for several years, like 4 or 5 years before Obasanjo settled it for them. So many lives was lost. If you reach Ife, if you reach Ife, up to this moment, you will still see the traces. I don't know how maybe this place has come back to life. I've been into Abraka 1, Abraka Lane 1, Abraka Lane 2, Lane 3. I've been there before. If you see a whole street like this become bush, a whole street that you yourself, you will know when you reach it, you will know that it was a bubbling street before. Turn to go bush. So it was a very bad word that we don't pray for or it again, which Sunday Igboho was part of people that fight that war. We have some other people in Yoruba land that are like that, but it's only Sunday Igboho that I know and I trusted. So other people that they know that they can lead this battle, they should just let us fight this battle once and for all. We know that these Fulani people, they will not let us rest. This is not the first time. This is not the second time. The one that we fought the other time, Ogojalumi, it was in Osogbo. They stopped them. Now they have come in again, which Yorubas will not relent. We should stand up. We should stand up and let them know that whenever they come, we are ready for them. Not that we will be crying every day. They are killing us. So they kidnap. They kidnap us there. They rape us there.
What do you think is giving the Fulani the impetus to leave the northern part of Nigeria and come down to the southeast and the southwest? What do you think is giving them that impetus?
Well, they are very brave and somebody that have instincts of violence and stealing. The thing will have mastered him to the extent that he will not be evil mind. Maybe they will catch him. You know, somebody that is not a thief. If something, if we tell you that, go and steal that thing, because it's not in your blood. One thing will tell you that, what if they catch you? But a thief that has stealing in his blood will not think about what if they catch me. Look at people that usually do money rituals, because devil has taken over of their act. They will not think about what if it doesn't work, what if they catch me. Because if it is like that, so many times majority of them have been caught. They will say they want to be rich, go and do this, go and do that. Eventually rich, they will not be rich. They will catch them. They will go and be rotting in jail. They will have heard so many stories like that. Yet you will see here tomorrow that somebody else went ahead to do that. So the violence is in their gene, and they are so brave, and they have this at the back of their mind that Nigeria belongs to them and they will take it over. Agbára òjò wa sọ pé oníléwu ni ò ní gbà fún. As they will be coming, Yoruba should be ready to tame them anytime, any day.
So, as for the governors in the southwest and in Governor Makinde, what do you think should be done now to to put a stop to this menace that the Fulanis are wanting to do there in this southwest of Nigeria? What do you think that they can do? The Yorubas, the governors,
Yes, the governors,
strong enough.
yes, the governors in Southwest, I give kudos to them. To some extent, they are trying, but there is need for more effort now. More effort, especially from Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde. I don't think Seyi Makinde do the needful as we witnessed during the day of Akeredolu in Ondo. So I think Seyi Makinde should stop all this Delenke attitude and all this lackadaisical attitude towards Amotekun. If the personnel of Amotekun is not enough, employ more. If there is another means to strengthen them, strengthen them. If it is financially, if there are some other weapons apart from AK-47, if there are other weapons we can use to tame them. Area surveillance is part of it. Survey the area. Maybe we buy a drone that a drone that will be monitoring and the sanitization of our forest is very, very important. Those are the key areas that the government is supposed to concentrate upon.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on your time zone. Massive Media welcomes you back to another mind-blowing analysis of Austrian President's speech at the United Nations General Assembly. Please listen to this very speech and listen attentively from Professor Dr. Alexander Van der Bellen, Austrian President. Dr. Van der Bellen is an economist, a politician, and elected under the Green Party of Austria. Many people may be confused about Austria and Australia. Austria is one of the European countries located at the center of Europe. It houses many international organizations like United Nations, International Atomic Energy, Austrian International Center, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. All these are located in Austria. It also known as Center of International Treaties because in Austria many treaties were signed. Austria is one of the most secured and the safest in the world. Top among them are Switzerland, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Austria, Norway, New Zealand. All these smaller countries are more safer than the big countries many Nigerians aspire to have as a big nation. Big nation with big insecurity, like Nigeria. Austria is one of the cleanest countries in the world based on Environmental Performance Index, EPI. According to EPI, Denmark, Malta, Luxembourg, Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, Iceland, and Norway are the cleanest cities in the world. Again, according to the Global Finance magazine, Austria is among the first 20 richest countries in the world with a population of 8.9 million. It is in this country that the president of Austria, Professor Dr. Van der Bellen, gave a speech at the United Nations National Assembly. Power trumpeter of 2019, Professor Van der Bellen's speech was a mind-blowing. His speech centered on Amazonia and Biafra in the presence of both Nigerian president and Cameroonian president Paul Biya. All were in the National Assembly when this speech was delivered. First, United Nations was criticized. Reason is that it lacks the willpower to deal decisively on evils in the society like genocide, dictatorship, religious intolerance, killings, and anti-Semitism. However, he appreciated that without the existence of United Nations, the world would have been worse for it. Further described United Nations as an instrument in God's hands. But there was one observation he made, which is critical. That observation is that, I quote, UN decisions are controlled and dominated by Arabs and their Islamic religion, unquote. This is a topic for another day, but this quotation has much to do with the decisions of United Nations. On this circle, we have to finish what was written here and the reasons he gave. He says, in other words, UN is pro-Arab and pro-Islam, with formidable oppositions led by the United States. He continued, he says, the leadership of United Nations condones excesses of dictators, authoritarian rulers, wickedness perpetrated by religious bigots, amongst other crimes against humanity. First, he picked up Ambazonia as example. He recounted on the genocide going on in southern Cameroon against the people of Ambazonia, who are seeking freedom from oppressive Cameroonian government led by Paul Biya, the octogenarian leader. Houses are being razed down, women and girls raped, and people slaughtered like animals. UN overlooks human rights abuses there, unquote. Sometimes people believe that the world leaders are not observing what is going on around the world, especially amongst those countries that are seeking for separate self-determination from the neo-colonialists. The Austrian president is observing, indeed, the Austrian government is observing the atrocities going on in southern Cameroon, just like other leaders. This vocal explanation before the National Assembly and before the President Dia was an indictment and a mind-blowing, and was supposed to have been a guideline to help the Amazonian people to have their freedom without much destruction of lives and properties by the Cameroonian government. Then he spoke on Biafran genocide, which even the southeastern part of Nigeria are ignoring. And the United Nations of age-long history of ignoring crimes against humanity going on in Nigeria. It ranges from 1966 genocide to the present-day atrocities of Fulani jihadist hitmen, unlashing on people of Middle Belt and the southern part of the country. He continued on Biafran issue. He stated, millions of people were massacred before, during, and after Nigerian Civil War. The President continued, the United Nations kept practically quiet, as well as African Union. This is a mind-blowing that they expected the United Nations and the African Union to intervene and find lasting solution. But they kept quiet because the UN decisions are controlled and dominated by Arabs and their Islamic religion, unquote. He observed that sponsored terrorist gangs springing up all over the north, together with the existing ones, have killed hundreds of thousands of people, mostly non-Muslims. International bodies maintain nonchalant attitude, unquote. From the president's address, one would observe that Amazonian issues and the Biafran issues are being discussed in the United Nations by some leaders who understood the problems, and those countries that have undergone the subjugations from countries like the United Kingdom, France, United States of America, and Russia. They are very much aware of the suffrage and the need to have independent countries from these African neo-colonialists and their killing agents. I would thank the Austrian president But unfortunately, there is no follow-up by those who are affected because of the dominance of the Arabs and the Islamic group at the United Nations. They do not allow such programs or projects to move forward because they are working together with their Islamic brothers and the presidents in both Nigeria and Cameroon. Austria is not new to Biafran issues, despite every effort made by British government under the leadership of Harold Smith, reminding Austria of its neutrality, not to send food and relief materials to starving Biafran children. This was a sabotage from the British government to ensure that no food was sent to Biafran children, Biafran citizens. But, however, this dilemma, this principle of neutrality posed on Caritas was defied, and in its magnanimity sent food and medical materials to the starving children.
What's your take as regards Alexander Vadavelin openly supporting Biafra and Abazonians? What's your take as regards?
God bless you. I remember humble said the Biafran evangelist who always speak the truth and nothing but the truth and ready to end by it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night wherever you are watching us from. May God bless you. May the Lord be with you. Now listen and listen good. Alexander Van der Bellen supporting the Biafra today, and in his speech he made mention of the Amazonia. He said reasons, he pointed out two reasons. Number one, we have already been a kind of shouting of a genocide. Are you getting me? That have been committed in Igbo land, committed in 1967, and the genocide that took place in the northern the Cameroon, either northern or southern Cameroon, that are the Amazonia today. He was speaking and he said categorically that it is the high time that the UN should come up and do the needful. They should stop, a kind of dialoguing with the thing that is not needful or necessary, or the thing that doesn't work it. Because in his point, he made the point that he's not surprised why UN have not yet, speak or do anything or act. Are you getting it? Based on the agitation and despite the genocide that these people has committed against the indigenous people of Biafra and Amazonia too. Then he now said the reason is he points some things which I pick as point. He said most of the UN, most of under their law, we are influenced by the Islamic and there's a way he said